Hi guys, I'm Brady Smith from the Butler Soil and Water Conservation District, and today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about soil texturing and why it's important. So soil texturing is really good to know if you have good drainage. So if you have clay soil, you're going to want to add some organic material to it to open up pore space. If you have sandy soil, you're probably going to want to add some clay and organic material to it so you have a good soil mixture. It's important to remember that this is not a test that shows you how productive your soil would be. If you want to do a soil test to test for nutrients, that's a whole other scenario, and our friends at OSU Extension, Butler County, can help you out with that. So what I'm going to do today is I have a little bit of soil right here. It's about enough to fill up the palms of your hands. I have a water bottle and a simple soil texturing flow chart that can be found on our website. So if we start at the beginning, we're going to get a little bit of soil, just enough to fill the palm of one hand. And what I like to do with it first is break up the large chunks beforehand before we add the water, and pull out any pieces of grass or any rocks or anything like that. If there's sand in it, that's okay, because that's going to affect your soil texture, but you don't want pebbles in there because that'll affect how we do the ribbon test, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit. So after I've got all the grass and stuff picked out, that's still a little too much soil, so I'm going to scrape some off, and that right there is just about enough. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take your water bottle, and it doesn't have to be a lab bottle like this. It can be, you can get water right out of your fountain or just a simple water bottle. But I'm just going to get it a little bit wet, not muddy. You don't want to get it super muddy because that's going to inhibit your ribbon test. So then you want to knead it in your hands and get the moisture mixed up. And if you can see here, it's still a little bit crumbly. You want it to stick together some, so I'm just going to add a bit more water. And if you add too much water, you can continue to work it in your hands and let it dry out, or you can add some more dry soil to it to soak up the excess water. So I'm going to work it in my hands a little bit, and some things that I like to take note of as I'm working it in my hands is how much it sticks to your fingers. So like right here, it likes to stick. It doesn't really like to drop off easily, and that's a really general indicator of how much clay content you have. And as we squeeze it, you can see that it likes to remain in a ball, so it has some structure to it. And this is just, again, working down the flow chart. So now what we're going to do, now that I've got it worked to where that I like it, you want to take your thumb and your index finger and try to make a ribbon, just working the soil outward. So here we've got a pretty good ribbon. I want to try that again just to show you a second time. And it likes to stick together, but as you can see, it's drooping a little bit. So if we had a really high clay content, this would stick together and form a really long, stiff, rigid ribbon. So it did form a ribbon, so we're going to keep working on down. If it didn't, according to the flow chart, we would have had loamy sand. So the ribbon, even though it's weak and it starts to droop a little bit, that's about 2 inches. So if we move down the flow chart and you feel a little bit of the soil in your hand, it's going to ask you if it feels gritty. This is when you want it to be really, really soupy. And you're just going to work it like this. And it's going to ask you if it feels gritty. In this soil here, I don't feel any grit. It's pretty much become pure liquid. So we're going to move down the flow chart again, and it asks you, does it feel very smooth? And the answer, in my opinion, is yes. So that would mean that we have silty clay loam. There's a couple small rocks in here, but overall it's not very gritty, so I feel pretty confident that this is silty clay loam. So you get a little dirty, but who doesn't like to get a little dirt on their hands every now and then? You can wash it off. When you're done, go to a different spot in your yard or garden and find out what kind of soil you have there. Another resource for you that'll give you another idea is the USDA Web Soil Survey. I use that a lot. It tells you really broad overview of what soil you have in the area. But if you want to know exactly what soil you have in a certain area of your yard, you're going to want to refer to this flow chart. Thank you. Check out our website. Check us out on social media. Thanks for staying with me today.